What's up? Decided to make dinner a little early today. Just being bored at this point, and yeah, decided to get some laundry done because I didn't want to be lazy about it, and I realized I was just kind of, I was running low on socks basically. I only had like another pair, and I was like, oh yeah, they're all. I use my washing machine basically as my laundry basket at this point, since I'm the only one here. So I get all that shit done, and then okay, that's for both. Steak and onion. I'm just doing steak and onion with some I guess you could say chipped potatoes, but they're not really chipped. They're just sliced into, they're just sliced, that's it. Yes, I have this habit that I will repackage it. Gordon tried using my leg like a tree again. But yeah, I rewrap it up. Like, I'm pretty sure, I think a lot of people do, I think. Use this to wipe my hands off with. Alrighty. I don't even know what I'm thinking right now. I'm just pretty much focused on getting rid of some of the root clumps in the potato before I actually slice it up. But no, I was looking at some more houses again. There's a few nice ones that I'm finding in some other locations. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm just going by myself. So it's like I don't really need like a big giant house. I mean, if I can find a 2-bedroom with a basement, that type of thing, where I can set up like the basement area for my movie room stuff and all that, and kind of an office space or whatever. It's not like I have an office. It's usually what I utilize with my computer, and when I had it here, I'd use it for my vids sometimes, and some of my photography as I was figuring out the programs on the computer again. But no, I'll have to have a space like that anyways when it comes to moving and all that, and getting a business started, because gonna need it and all that, because I'll have to have that space that obviously I can deal with stuff at home, when I'm not there. Clearly when you run a business, it doesn't end when you're at after an 8-hour shift. It basically ends whenever you go to bed. This is probably the only time I eat the skins of a potato. I know I'm weird, but yeah. These, and what I do is I put a little oil over it because it helps keep it from going brown too quick. You know how potatoes are. cut them up, and by the time you get through cutting so much of them, they start turning. They collect the air, the shit in the air basically, and they start turning colors on you. So always just put a little bit of oil on them. I'll set that over here while this heats up. Probably have to use more butter for when I put the onion in. Unsalted butter. Honestly, I don't care if I use salted or unsalted, but it does sometimes, depending on what you're making, it can affect the recipe. It's just like low fat and high fat, all that bullshit. Bit of meat. Well, that's doing its thing because it's gonna have onion, and I don't have any minced garlic. I'm gonna add some garlic powder. No, that reef I made yesterday, it was a gift for someone, and hopefully they appreciated it. Took it over to them, and got some decorations for it and decorated it for them. And then hung out and cooked them dinner. Of course, it seems to be what I'm here for. I don't mind cooking. I just don't. Overall, it wasn't a horrible time. But, dogs had fun, and then, on the way back home, stopped, grabbed them some puppy food and some kitty food and all that. So, I'm showing you one of the methods of how I slice up an onion, especially for what I'm doing here. Just basically making an onion ring type, just slices. At the same time, I will also do this in other ways too. I just don't cut all the way around. I try not to cut through, just through that first layer, and I'll go all the way around. This kind of holds it together, and also, if you're worried about getting tears, like most people when they cut onions, they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry, it's gonna burn my eyes. This is just a good way to peel and cut an onion and avoid a lot of that bullshit. Might be a little bit more time consuming, but when you're at home and it's just you and the family and all that or whatever, then it's no biggie. And then what I do is I take that first layer off. Get that guy off there. And then once it comes off, it'll start peeling off. And then, like I said, I generally take that first layer of the flesh off, because then it it's got all the bullshit off of there. Let's get this thrown in the trash now. I had a little compost bucket thing. I still do, but I keep it out front because even with the carbon filters on those, they can get a little stinky on the at times. You can wash them, do all that stuff, they can still get stinky. But see, it holds it together. You're not doing the onion juice everywhere. And if you want to, dice it, other people, they just do this stuff, and you get a sharp enough knife and do it just right, you can end up going right there and hitting your hand. Others, I mean, yeah, they've got skills and they're good at it. I'm not about hacking away at an onion. I can respect that, actually. When people do that stuff. Take that off because I noticed there's a funky spot. But yeah. I'm just doing regular slices. I'm not even trying to do precision type bullshit. I don't care. These lay right on the fucking steak. So that way, as it slowly cooks here, the onion juice can work into it. As always, almost every other, person, at least for, people like myself, I guess, or I think the average person, they usually use some sort of Montreal or steak seasoning on their steak anyway. I put it on the onion and the steak, so that way it just, because the onions will still absorb that flavor into it and then cook right into the steak too, but, Put my little potato taters up in here. Turn that up a little more. No, I'm getting anxious for moving and just being able to have a fresh start and all that stuff. This stuff, yeah, I'm annoyed. I'm, burned out and everything by all the bullshit. It's just, obviously, as long as I'm here, I'm gonna be stuck dealing with that type of stuff at least until this place sells, and then once it does, then yeah. So. Not a lot of choice in that. If I had the option to be able to just go back and stay with family and all that stuff, I would. But I don't want to deal with this bullshit here where they're concerned and others. I also don't want to, it's just a whole mess of things. It'd be nice if this place sold sooner than later. I am, also keeping aware of who's making offers on my home, too. Because some people I don't care about the amount, I won't sell to them. And my realtor knows and she understands what's been going on. Like, she definitely knows why why I had to put my home up for sale. Oops. But so I mean that's not just me staying here, whether I'm here or not. She consistently contacts me to let me know there's a viewing and all that stuff, and then if there's any offers, she usually lets me know if there are, and if depending on who it is, if there's people making offers that are basically on this list that I've given her of no, go fuck yourself, she knows it won't be a deal because either way I'll find out. She's very open to me about what she's doing and all that stuff with the home and the sales and all that stuff. I don't get personal shit or anything like that. She just knows it's very specific names that I will not let go to because I'm just no. It's a shitty house as is to some of them, so why waste my time? Because that's the thing is, yeah. I've had questions on a couple, but it is what it is. It's supposed to start snowing today. It'll start snowing here anytime, actually. Sometime between, well, my stove clock, I keep looking at it and go, oh, hey, cool, it's almost 5. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's like just after 3 now. And between now and like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, it's supposed to start snowing. And I don't mind getting a little bit of snow. I mean, a couple inches of snow isn't bad. First, just say like the first, say foot of snow is great and fine because usually it'll, at least where you're driving, it melts off a little quicker. But by the time you get into actual winter, you're guaranteed, especially out here, to be walking on top of about 3 to 4 inches of solid ice. From the snow packing onto it, and as it melts through and it freezes below and packs up. Yeah, that's why at times we won't. Not until like late March. Yeah, late March, early April. A lot of times is when we can finally start getting up to the top of the driveway here. And so, yeah, snow shovels won't cut through that shit so easy. And yeah, it's one of those things you have to keep up on daily or every other day. Otherwise, and to do all that, but with just a regular shovel, you're looking at a couple hours of work at most. Some people I can just bust right through it. And it's like once you get through the top part, you're like, I need a fucking break. I haven't decided if I want to put onions on this thing or not. Or not onions, but cheese. Right now I'm separating, each of the little rings of the onion. That way, yeah. It all cooks up nicely, and we got a good, sauteed onion. It's not, none of them are crunchy or anything, but not too soft either. I don't mind it if they're, caramelized or something like that, but when they get too mushy, almost like a mashed potato, then I'm not thinking. Flipping the little potato things over. Yeah, I only have one set of tongs, so I'm not going to use the tongs that I use on the steak to flip the tater things over. And I'm just using a regular fork. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I really need to quit this shit. I don't mind pipe tobacco too much. Cigars, I won't. I don't mind them, but I won't puff on them. I have a regular little pipe tobacco and all that stuff that I would smoke on pipe tobacco and all that time there. But these things, though, I need to quit. And it's weird because I've quit more addictive substances in my life than this shit, so I don't get it. And then I get home and Gordon's in his kitty condo thing, and he just kind of rolls out the little door of it. Just, hey, you're back. But no, made sure he got his. Well, I don't have to worry about his food being topped off. I ended up pulling my, what some of us will remember, at least my generation and older, I had to pull a grandma move because I don't want to keep using one of my cereal bowls for a cat bowl. And so, yeah. Basically just letting that dry at the moment, but switching out so I can get my bowl back. I'd only put cat food in it here last night and all that stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna wash that out and use that for kitty food. I'm like, I don't want to end up, I don't want cat food getting caked in there, and it just, even after wash, that'll play in my brain a little bit and be like, no, it's just, no. One thing I'm going to do a little bit different. Other than turn down the temp now because it doesn't need to be so hot. The onions are cooked. There's a shit ton of onion. That's okay. No wrong with stuff. Not even paying attention to which one I'm picking up. I'm going to grab the Italian seasoning to put on the potatoes and end up not realizing I was gonna start putting something else on there. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the right one. This shit's good. Cheddar. Wow. A blended cheese. Excuse me. Still gotta cook the rest of them, but yeah. Here, let's see if I can. Should throw a little cheese on that too, huh? the old cheddar commercial. Cheddar makes everything better. You know, it's making me think of the old Parquet commercials. Parquet. Parquet. Just a little bit of cheese. Even though it's tempting to drown it, you know, in cheddar. I'll leave it out for the moment. I guess I could be nice and let the puppies have those two pieces. Dishes anyway. I don't believe there's a steak under there, huh? Yeah, not the biggest, portion sizes, but that's just me. Sorry. I try to cook for one and cook to where I have enough to where I have enough to eat and then I don't have leftovers. I would even do that when it comes to like anything else. Like when it wasn't just me living here, I would cook my meals, or I'd cook the meals where technically there was just enough for the two of us, and then if there's anything extra, we would let the pups have it, because then it's just we don't eat a bunch of shit. I mean, homemade like this. Grab a fork. Ooh, this is looking really good. It smells pretty fucking good too. And one of the things I love is if, like, on a pan and all that, and you add a little bit of butter so it doesn't stick to it, but you throw just the cheese on it and let it crisp up into that crunchy cheese. That's just good, especially when you let it do that with a grilled cheese sandwich. You just, well, technically you take the cheese, it's hard to do in a skillet, but like in a restaurant on a big grill or griddle or whatever, you put the cheese right onto the griddle and then you let it melt on there, and then you just take your bread, you put it on there and you wipe it up like it's like you got a brawny towel, just put it that way, and then you slap the bread together, put it on there, and toast up the bread. But if you leave it on the griddle just long enough to let it kind of crisp up on one side before you do it, it's pretty fucking good. And one of the ways that you can do that is if you use a large enough cookie cutter, because then it makes it easier so that the cheese doesn't just keep spreading out so far. You just use a big enough cookie cutter, put the cheese in there, let it melt up, all melt up in there, but then it'll crisp up on the bottom really good. And you can either slide your spatula under there and have your bread on there or whatever, however you want to do it, and just flip it and pull the thing off there and then put your other slice of bread on there. But yeah, and it adds a crunch to it. There are some things I have never cooked for even my previous ex, even my ex-wife. There's some meals I just have never cooked for the different ones, even friends. Sit here and carefully wipe off the fucking stove real quick. Yep. There are other things I'd like to learn to cook, but that's just like get a recipe in front of me and I go through it a few times because I try to keep accurate. And once I learn it well enough, then I might modify it from there if I feel I'd like to change the taste a little or not. But otherwise, yeah. So I used to make Amish pretzels a long time ago, but in order for me to make those, I have to make them by weight, not by cup measurements, but by weight measurements. And so I just, after so long of not having a scale, I had lost my recipe at that point. I know where to look it up and I know what it is. And yeah, I just gotta get the cup measurement or fractional measurement type conversion for the recipe versus going with the by weight, so then it's easier. The potato. It's hot. Needs a minute on there and that'll just cook slowly on its own. Sprinkle a little more cheese and good for dinner. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this very, very random ramble while I cooked dinner. I mean, it was just completely random bullshit, right? I really didn't say much of anything. Oh yeah. So guess I'll pull up a chair and stay a minute too. Here, watch out, Momo. Watch out, girl. Watch out, girlie. Here, watch out. Cut this off because it's not all smoky in here anymore. But with the thankfully, without having the third party involved on this whole realty bullshit, even though we had set a certain price to it when it was getting relisted, it already gained some more value to it anyways on top of that. So thankfully that's great. Plus with all the added shit that all the work that's been done, that's finally being applied. But it went up like, compared to what it went up, it only lost like $90 value. So, and realistically, in the overall winner, yeah, it didn't really lose anything. $90. But no, I even had that other third party guy, start calling me up, starting to bug me about the house. I haven't bothered to answer the phone because, yeah, he's gonna end up getting a little screenshot, because I don't appreciate people trying to stiff arm or manipulate me into selling my home to them for the amount of a fucking crack house in town. I'd barely be able to even pay my bills off at that point. It's like, fuck you, dude. That really pissed me off. It's like, that's... I might as well just go shit on your front doorstep and light it on fire and ring the doorbell and run. Like, that's some bullshit. It's like, no. So, in due time, you know, the place will sell and I'll finally be able to have a better start and a healthier start. I'll be able to afford to be able to go get some help too, because Lord knows I need some fucking therapy. That's for sure. In that meantime, yeah, when I get moved, I have a few things planned out when it comes to the move, and how things are gonna be broke down, and when I get to each spot, that's when I can basically go, okay, you know, do I do this, or that, and so I'm keeping, basically, in essence, I'm keeping my options open when it comes to how I'm dealing with the situation when it comes to a home and where I live, and then how I'm going to go about which, you know, part of the business I want to start going. Because I'm paying attention to what each place has there and all that stuff. Which I feel like with what I want to do, like with the cooking and all that stuff, it's going to be alright anyway, so I'll do good anyways. I just don't want to be in one of those places where they've got, let's say, a little tiny store, you know, a little tiny neighborhood, you know, like local store, and the closest one to where you can really get everything you need 40, 50 miles away. Then it's probably a good thing to have a secondary one with some, you know, some added shit. And not be one of those towns where it's got one of those stores, but it's got a dozen restaurants to it. It's like, well, no. The population size of it's only big enough for that one store. And all they don't need any more restaurants. You know, they probably need another store with some other options to it. Doesn't necessarily always mean, you know, equal or better prices, of course, but yeah. You know, I'm paying attention to a lot of those different aspects. At the same time, I'm making sure I'm planning to keep room for what I would want to be able to do at home, too, when it comes to micro farming or even, you know, extremely large gardening, however you want to put it. You know, things that I actually enjoy doing, you know, and being in that situation, I'm not... It's gonna not necessarily be easy doing it on my own, but I've been doing all this shit on my own anyways, really, and it's not gonna make a difference. Who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky by then and meet someone that is more than happy to not just talk, but actually take part. So, anyways, I'm gonna enjoy my meal before it gets too hot. I'm not gonna ramble your ear off anymore about completely random bullshit. My brain's been all over the place today, and there's plenty at this point I just don't want to just bring up, so I'm just being completely random right now, and at least giving you a bit of an update. My day's been, it's been alright, it's been okay. Hasn't been the greatest, but it can't get any worse at this point, and if it does, well, at least I don't have to deal with the karma that comes from that, I guess you could say. So, unless I do something really stupid, just sitting here, eating my dinner, pretty much enjoying my shows, and in the meantime, who knows, maybe I'll try and figure out how to do another chocolate milk vid, because I mean, shit, if that makes you guys laugh, I'll figure out another way to do it. No, I'm joking. No, I've been wanting to go for a walk, and with it snowing, it hasn't started yet. I'll do like a short vid here later or something when it starts snowing, but I really do want to try and go for a walk here tomorrow. I've been really itching to do that, so yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.